Okay, so our face was an example of taking colors to try to express a bigger idea or maybe even emotion or idea or a feeling of types. And today we're going to start our next drawing, observation. And this is a still life. And I really like still lifes a lot. Now they get their word not because these flowers were once alive, but when she's painting them, she's looking at life. Okay, she's not photographing it, although we're actually going to photograph ours. But to get the colors right, I really want you to set this up, and it'd be great if you could set it up in your house somewhere where you wouldn't have to take it down, or at least set it up where you know you can put it every day in the same spot. Okay, and I'll show you a little bit about that tomorrow. But I really want you to observe with your eyes the shadows and the colors and everything. One of the reasons I like this painting is she spent hours and hours and hours painting this still life, and then when she was done, she threw them away. Like the flowers they're dead and they weren't very valuable, but now the painting lives on. So there's some sort of, eternity here with something temporal there, and art that can be a good description of art. I am going to start off today, maybe showing off a little bit. Maybe you don't get to see my work very often, but this is one of my paintings, and it's a still life. If you're interested in my work, I do have a children's book on Amazon. It's called Reflections of Me. And you're more than welcome to buy it. Yay! It doesn't cost much, $10. Some of my students have done it, and I've always signed it if they brought it in. If you can have the author signature if you want. But anyway, here's an example of one of my paintings, a still life. And I wanted to look like there was just some objects that sort of got set in the corner on, a special day, in this case, Christmas. So in 2003, and a couple of things. If you were fifth graders in 2003, all my fifth graders in 2003, one of the first things they did was draw a Christmas bulb. I've helped so many students draw Christmas bulbs. It's really, I stopped doing that a few years ago. But the reason I like it is the entire room is reflected inside the bulb. And this is where you see my family, me and my wife and my two kids. Some of you who've been in my room notice that I collect pop cans. So I have that pop can still. I got the Matrix that year for a present. We always read from the Bible at Christmas, so that's sort of down there. And it's not an accident that everything is stacked upon that, like it's a foundation. Or the fact that this Christmas card with Mary and Jesus are looking over my family. It looks kind of haphazard, and that's the fun part of still lifes, is you can make it look haphazard, but at the same time you can very much control it, and it's all on top of a music stand, and we all love music. So there's a lot to it, but I want it to look fresh and fast. One of the reasons that artists do still lifes is really simple. It's a way to practice or even show off a little bit our ability to paint things. So you say, how do you paint a ribbon, or how do you paint something gold, right? That's real reflective. So I have a really bright highlights and then reflections in there. Really, if you break this down, it's not that complicated, right? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different colors. Just put it on there. But when you back it up, it gives the illusion of something three-dimensional, like the little reflection on the edge of that Bible, or the texture of the wood here. It's just a dark color on top of a light color. Couple really good artists. Let me show you some other illustrators. Let me see. For still life, here's a fun one. This was actually done, I think, about 300 years ago, and I just recently looked up the date of this artist, and I found out that it was painted about 2 months before the artist died. And it kind of gave me chills when I noticed that, because it is about life and death and the time. And so to me, those symbols are really obvious in here. 300 years ago, they didn't have photographs. So this is a painting. pretty realistic painting. I'm impressed. Here's one from today. Well, a few years ago, I should say. The person who painted this is still alive today. It looks like a photograph. Really went into that detail. How can you paint glass, or how can you paint, ice? That's a real challenge, and some artists go up to that. The very first still lifes were kind of accidental. They kind of were filling up space, and so they would put little thing like dishes and flowers and things. And I think it was the Greeks who did this to decorate their house. They just paint right inside the fresco. Look at the difference as time goes on, that it becomes more and more, artists become more and more obsessive with getting things exactly right. And the way you do that is with getting the values and the saturation and the colors correct. So that's why, believe it or not, this shadow is as important as some of these grapes, because it's establishing this plate in space. Okay, look at that. We went from, I love the progression here. Just simple thing on the wall to something a little more complex, and then in the Middle Ages they just went crazy. And today artists kind of split between, are they these giant, he's got every animal that he killed on here, like some, and this guy would have been really rich. This is like today showing off your car and your house. If you have that much food stored up, you are a pretty rich man, and so rich that some people are trying to pickpocket you. I love the fact that this is a still life, but it looks like these chickens are fighting. So they're not very still, or that cat is ready to pounce on them at any second. So there's a lot of little stories in here, a lot of fun. I wish I had hours to talk about some of these paintings. Matisse loved complexity. Here he is. He does a still life, but in that still life, he has his self-portrait, a landscape, pretty much the whole room. When I do something, and I kind of want you guys to do this too, put it in a corner and make the background really simple, because we just want to focus on the objects. Don't do like Matisse and try to draw the whole thing. Someone like Matisse is Janet Fish. Janet Fish likes complexity. This is an actual size of a painting. And she does not use a camera. She does this all from looking and from life. And so I can just feel the texture of this paper Thanksgiving paper placemat, and the cat knocking the milk over and jumping off. That's a great story. This is a painting. Yes, she painted peaches or apples or oranges. I don't know, oranges, and she didn't take them out of the wrapper. They're just like from the wrapper from the store. How do you paint clear plastic? That is amazing. Or this one, I often ask kids, what would be hard about painting this? Well, I'll tell you what would be hard. It's got a landscape back here and a portrait. You have to look through the trees to see this branch and this water and this reflection here and the food and if you're outside, the sun moves all the time. So she could only work a couple hours a day if she's not using photographs. So that's pretty amazing to think about. Just complexity, and here's bananas in the wrapper. I'd do this one. A kid would go, Mr. Lane, it's all white. I guess I could just turn in a white piece of paper or clear, right? There are all the white objects in her kitchen. Now, some artists really, like this one, did not do that complex background like Janet Fish. He kept things really simple. And that's a way of, it's got some peelings in there. There's plenty of challenges there. But just doing flowers in a sculpture here, that's a way of really simplifying things. Here's an artist that just kind of broke up the space into different parts. And how can you kind of keep it simple? Picasso did that. Just flattening it out and simplifying it into triangles and squares. This is almost like one of our paintings. Our face painting that we got done with the lines and the shapes, and just really flat and simple. An artist living today is Wayne Thiebaud, and he is more like Picasso, and he likes simple things. He just beautiful colors. These are huge paintings, and he just like Janet Fish. I think they're even friends. I could be wrong about that, but he kept things simple. But the complexity for him isn't in the shapes; it's in the colors. Right? Look at the green line and the purple and the blue. These paintings just stand out. They're so beautiful. Yeah, two white cakes with Minnie Mouse on it, but he just finds the beauty in all of it. Okay, here's some cakes here. So go ahead and finish the questions on this worksheet or this video, I mean. And tomorrow I'll show you how to set up your still life and use the Chromebook to help us draw, and then that'll help us get into painting much quicker.